Hey guys, Weakauras Shaman here with another Elemental Shaman video. This video is much requested by my viewers, so I thought it was about time that I came out and did it. In this video, we're going to be talking about stuff like the add-ons that I use, my UI setup, my macros, and my Weakauras. A lot of important stuff that you guys have been asking about, so let's get started with the video. The first point that we're going to be covering is my UI. I use Elvui as the UI setup. It is a third-party add-on into the game. It's not available under Curse, so if you guys want a link to the website to find it, it's going to be in the description down below. So let's talk about how to use it. Simply type into your chat /EC, a menu is going to come up. Elvui is a full UI replacement. It completely replaces the default Blizzard UI at every single level with new and better interface options. It's completely customizable, and I'll show you what's up with it. So, as you can see here, these are called anchors. And pretty much you can move around everything between the mini-maps, your chats, like your Blizzard Battle.net frame, which gives you notifications when people log on, all of your bars, your raid frames, everything. Everything that has to do with everything on your UI. It's completely customizable and move around. So you can have your map down here and your chats up here, it doesn't matter. Your UI is your UI. So I like that it's completely customizable in that kind of sense. Your auction bars, you can fully change whether your button size or how many buttons you want to be using on that bar. It's completely customizable. It's amazing. I love it. Every single bar you can customize when it comes to boss buttons, which is that like big square button that just shows up in the middle of your screen sometimes on the UI, the default UI. Your macro bar, which is this one right here. Your stance bar if you have like warriors or if you're a druid or whatever, and your pet bar, obviously if you have a pet, that's going to show up and you can do whatever you want on that. Another thing that you can use with it is importing and exporting profiles. What this means is that you see how I have a profile pretty much with my setup here. Well, I can export that profile into a text code and then give it to someone else, which I will be doing for you guys. By the way, if you want my UI, you can have it. Okay? You can have it. I'm going to be putting a link to the paste bin for my UI in the description down below, and I'll show you how you can get it. So you're pretty much going to get this big text box, right? And then you're going to go over to import profile. You're going to paste that big text code in here and press import now. That's going to give you instantly this profile. I'm going to fix this in a sec because that's bothering me. But instantly you can have the profile. It's pretty amazing feature and I love it. Another thing that you guys should know about it is that you can add plugins like Domino's action bars if you don't like the actual action bars that are in here, or tidy plates, and the one that I use is add-on skins. Add-on skins allows me to embed things like my DPS and healing trackers that you see here. And I'm going to talk about this in my add-on section, which one that I use. But you can embed it into your chat. And I have two of them going on here. I have the damage and healing done, so you can see those at all times. It's really cool. You can choose to hide it when you're out of combat, change the embedded settings, and kind of like do stuff with it that you normally wouldn't be able to do with regular DPS meters. Alright, let's move on to the add-ons that I use. One being obvious, the one that I just covered, Elvui. Like I said, you can't find it through Curse. Curse is a platform where you can just completely install add-ons into your game's files, and they'll just be right there for you. But yeah, Elvui cannot be installed through Curse. You have to do it through the third-party website that I'm going to be linking in the description down below. The second one is Weakauras, and we're going to be talking about this mumbo-jumbo right here soon enough. But that's for a second part of my video. I'm just going to be going over pretty much the add-ons that I think that you guys should be using mandatorily if you are going to be a Mythic Raider or Hard Heroic Raider or Mythic Plus, like endgame kind of person. These are kind of like the add-ons that I think that you guys should be using or suggest that you guys use. Another one is Deadly Boss Mods. This is pretty much a must for all raiding guilds. you kind of want this one, as it is a really great tracker of boss mechanics, boss abilities, important things like needing to interrupt adds, or it's a wipe. It'll tell you everything that's going to be going on in a fight, and I think it's mandatory, either this one or Bigwigs, for your guild's rating. It's a very important add-on. I recommend picking this up if you haven't already. The next one that we're going to talk about is Details. Details is the one that you see in this embedded setting right here. Details is a DPS healing, damage taken, tracking add-on. You can see right here that it's pretty visually appealing already. It updates every 0.05 seconds if you set it to it, so it's constantly ticking those numbers. You can see it. It's streamer friendly, which is why I use it. It's very appealing to the live stream, so you can see those damage meters light up as much as they do. Another thing that's great about it is when you hover over spells, it gives you in-depth details on it. You can also change what bookmark it is, so enemy damage taken. You can see who's getting the damage taken by them, your damage taken by spell, deaths, stuff like that. You can add different bookmarks to it, like resources, gains, miscellaneous, healing, damage over time, frags, whatever, right? It's completely customizable in a sense where it's user-friendly, but nicer. I find it nicer to me than, say, Scata or Recount is. I've just gotten used to it now, and I think that it's a lot better. That's my opinion. Other people have their opinion, but I'm just giving you guys the throwdown of what I use. Oh, we're in the water. The next one is mic scrolling battle text. This one is a nice kind of like number generator you'll see with whatever damage you're dealing or healing. It pretty much tracks the events, shows them up on screen, but also pairs them together, so you're not getting just screen clutter. And I'll show you exactly what it looks like here in a sec. I've used multiple types of battle text on my screen. I've used the default one, which I find is too clunky. I'd like to see where the damage is coming from on my screen at the time, so I can react to it. So here is a pretty instance for it. You're going to see that where the damage is coming from, it gives you a little picture of the item or the spell, and it'll group together different spells if it hits multiple items. It tells you if it's immune, pet immune, which is your totems and stuff like that. See if I can hit 2 targets with these earthquakes. Yeah, see, it groups together the spells and gives you the total damage that the hits did. 2 crits right there. Crits show up as boom, pops right up. You can completely customize it to where if you don't want to see healing on your character, you don't need to see it. See, I have those disabled. I strictly want to see damage on the target. I'm a raider. I don't like the screen clutter. It doesn't look good on the stream as well. So I strictly just want damage to the target. So yeah, moving on to the next one, GTFO, or get the F out. This add-on kind of... it's a funny one, but also useful, in the sense where if you're not really paying attention to too much, it'll kind of scream at you, say like, hey, you're taking too much damage, move out of this spell. Or, you know, PvP environment, fail alert sounds, embedded friendly fire sounds. Like, if you're standing too close to someone, it'll give you that sound, or if you're standing on something and you're taking too much damage, it'll give you another sound that you can quickly verify what's happening and move out of it. Sometimes you guys will hear it on my stream and you'll be like, what is that? Well, this is what it is. It's pretty much a handicap for those who don't want to pay attention to too much going on and are kind of like ignorant to it. I know I'm guilty of such a thing, so that's why I use such an add-on. It helps me out. It can help you guys out too if you don't notice those things, kind of things right away. Let's move on. Pawn. There's a lot of discussion over Pawn on the Elemental Shaman Discord, and I'll tell you why it's kind of important. Pawn takes your stat weights into consideration, and it is a gearing advisory add-on. It gives you advice onto gearing your character. Who doesn't want that if you're, say, like a semi-hardcore to casual player and you don't know if an item is an upgrade? If you're a semi-hardcore kind of player, you're going to be simming your character, and you can export your sim and put it right into a profile itself. What it looks like is it'll take your stat weights into consideration and give you advice on gearing your character. So let's go over say pants. I obviously have the legendary pants on right now, but we're comparing these two items, and it'll give you an arrow pointing up to which one is an upgrade. Say if I equip such an item right now and I swapped it and I said, hey, let's compare what item we have right now. It'll show you if the item is an upgrade. This is an obvious upgrade based on the intellect, because intellect is my highest weighted stat, so it's taking that into consideration. And then we just press swap, and it saves it onto our profile. Pretty simple. It can get a little wonky with you consistently simming your character and importing the pawn string into pawn every time you switch a piece of gear. You could literally go back and forth between two pieces consistently, and it's not going to give you a very accurate depiction or a advice on those two specific gears, because if you're constantly switching those two pieces of gears together, say like two rings, your stat weights change every time you switch to the new ring. And if you import the string every time you switch to that ring, you're just going to go back and forth between the two items. So you have to also take into account what your stat priorities are. This is on an advanced level where you get to that. Let's move on to the third portion of the video, Weakauras. Weakauras are a big thing for me. I track everything that has to do with everything around my rotation with my Weakauras. You'll see here, this can be a little confusing to those that don't understand what Weakauras are. But Weakauras are essentially a way to track, or it's a powerful and flexible framework, okay, that allows you to display highly customizable graphics on your screen to indicate buffs, debuffs, and a whole host of similar types of information. What I do with mine, and you can see here, this bar right here is a Maelstrom tracker. It is a Weakaura that tracks your Maelstrom. You can see it fill up every time I use a spell that generates Maelstrom. It's very useful indeed. I'm going to say that you can see right there, if the Flame Shock was missing, it'll say missing Flame Shock, and it gives you a picture of the Flame Shock. Now it has the duration of it and other things such as tracking your Stormkeeper buff, your totems, see if they're on you, your power of the Maelstrom. I have these in here because I like to track them together in case I get specific procs and whatnot. So you can see it. It tracks the stacks of it. Flame Shock turns red when I should be refreshing it, or it's getting close to the refresh rate. So it's a very important add-on, and I recommend using it. So let's get out of combat so we can show you guys what else it tracks. Oh my gosh. Come on. Are you gonna keep going? No, we're good. Okay. So it tracks other cooldowns such as my Ice Fury, gives me the stack numbers of how many stacks of Frost Shocks I have, obviously. Tracking my Elemental Mastery, my actual Ascendance, you can see that here, and the cooldown of it. If I was a troll, it would track my berserking cooldown. Obviously, I want to keep track of those. You can also do one for your orc, if like berserking not berserking, the whatever the orc racial is. I can't really remember it right now. Gust of wind it tracks as well. Your lust, your actual. If you're in range, this is actually an important one for your totem mastery. If you're in range of your totems, it'll light green, like that. But if you're out of range, it'll be red. Like so. It turns red if you're out of range of it. So that's pretty important for tracking it, instead of not knowing, or if you need to put your totems back down. It's a pretty important one. I use it a lot because totem mastery is currently the best talent to use out of the first three. So if you guys want the Weakauras that I use, I'm going to be putting a export into the descriptions down below, so there's another paste bin into that. So I'll show you guys how to import such a string into a new Weakaura, so you guys can have all these Weakauras. So the same kind of thing happens with Weakauras as it does Elvui. When you're exporting a profile in Elvui, you get a huge text file that you just put into an import, and it does all the work for you. The same thing happens with Weakauras. You can export a string onto a paste bin, you get a whole bunch of text again, and then you import it into a new. You're going to click new, import the entire string into here again, and then you get the entire Weakaura combination that we have here, including the Maelstrom tracking bar, all the tracking graphics for your buffs, your debuffs, your totems, everything, right? Gives you everything. So I feel that's pretty important. Weakauras are also very, very useful when tracking debuffs from boss fights. So you need to see what is actually happening. Weakauras is a great way with Deadly Boss mods to track such things. We use it a lot in our Mythic Raiding guild. So yeah, I want to show you guys that. The last portion of this video is going to be covering macros. This is a huge one because lately I've been getting a lot of questions regarding macros, and this is definitely a needed section. So, macros that I use quite a bit, in the sense that it's easier. 7.1, a command came out that we're going to be covering with @cursor spells. The first Weakaura that we're going to be covering, or not Weakaura, the first macro that we're covering is my Ascendance macro. I'm not currently spec'd into it right now, but we'll show you right now when I spec into it. When I pop Ascendance, this macro right off the bat uses Elemental Mastery at the same time. This is going to be useful when you're speccing into Ascendance on certain boss fights, if it's viable, right? In the future for patch 7.15, Ascendance is going to be a viable pick for a talent. So this add-on just kind of helps you out if you're going to be using Elemental Mastery with Ascendance in the future or currently. So what it is, and by the way guys, I'm just going to be putting all of the macros down in the description down below so you can copy and paste those into your own profiles so you can all have them as well. So that's the first macro. It's pretty much a show tooltip Ascendance. If I have it spec'd, it'll show the tooltip /cast Ascendance and /cast Mastery, or Elemental Mastery. This works because Elemental Mastery is off the GCD, so the combination of these two spells correlate together nicely. The next one, and this works, this is like a macro that I use for several spells. This is a @cursor macro, and this is very, very useful, okay? This is very, very useful, and I'll give you an example as to why it's useful. If we go to Lightning Surge Totem, oops. You guys know this green ring. It's annoying as crap. It is so annoying. A lot of classes have it, right? You pretty much have to click again where you want to place that current spell. What this macro does, and I'll show it to you guys for Earthbind Totem, It eliminates the factor for you to use the green ring, to have to click your mouse, to spend the extra time. I know it's like a fraction of a second, but it helps to spend the extra time to use that spell. So I'm going to use it on Earthbind, and I'll show you an example of it. The macro itself reads cast at cursor, meaning you can literally cast a spell wherever your mouse is, eliminating the factor to actually click with the green ring where you want to place it. This is so useful. I'll do it here with the static totem, and I'll get Maelstrom so you guys can see it with Earthquake. Earthquake is the big one. Earthquake is the big one. Check this out. Boom. Right on the ground wherever I wanted it to go. Instantly. This is huge for Earthquake. It is actually a DPS increase. So I'm going to be putting these macros again. I'll just put one because there's no need to repeat it. You just literally change out whatever spell it is that you want to be putting this in. This works for multiple classes like Mage with Flame Strike, or Warlock with calling down your Colossal Infernal Demon. It works with every spell that needs to be clicked on the ground. It's an amazing macro. I definitely recommend using it. Let's move on to my Hex Macro. This one just places the target into my focus target, as my focus target when I hex them. And whenever I cast Hex again, it'll immediately hex that target. I have to fix it because it currently is bugging out with my Hex Compy spell, or glyph, where it hexes them into a little raptor instead. But this one's currently bugging out. It works, and I'll be putting this one in the description down below, and I'll be fixing it and editing the description when I kind of find a way around this bug. The next one is a very useful one that I'm going to be covering. This one, if you're a Draenei and you're in that oh shit situation, Draenei's racial is the Gift of Naaru. With the Gift of Naaru, it is a cast on the target. If you're targeting an enemy, it'll be cast on you, or you can target it, or you can target a friendly character and it'll put the heal over time on that character. But essentially what it does is Gift of Naaru excuse me, Gift of Naaru and your Ancient Healing Pot can be paired together because Gift of Naaru is off the GCD as well. That being said, I don't have any healing pots to actually show you guys to actually use it. But when I cast it, the heal will be applied to me or the other target, and I will instantly health pot as well. So you don't have to press two buttons, pretty much. This is one of those like oh shit situation macros where in a situation where you would drop and you don't think you're gonna drop in health and you don't think you're gonna get a heal in time in order to save yourself. That's like the situation for that macro to come in handy. The next one is actually a recently acquired macro that I received from one of my viewers on Twitch. Very handy. This is a water walking while casting your mount macro. It essentially casts water walking before you cast your mount so that you can use that mount as a water strider pretty much. Whatever your favorite mount is, you can use that now in conjunction with it. I mean, you could just press the water walking before you mount, but it's just like an easier way to do it. Less buttons to click for those who are just so in love with making macros. So yeah, I'll put that one in the description below. What you want to do is put the name of the mount below, or here in this place. You want to put the name of your favorite mount that you want to use with the macro. And it'll cast water walking so that you can use your favorite mount while water walking on water. Let's go to the next ones. Purge. You immediately stop casting and then purge the target. You can't currently like purge this because it doesn't have anything to purge, but it stops you from casting. and purges the target immediately. I'll give you an example. So I'm half casting and then I stop casting and purge it. This one works with Winsheer as well. This also, I use it on a at focus if it exists. If I have set a target to a focus like I do with my Hex, if I'm PvPing, if I hex a healer or something, then they become my focus target. And if the focus target exists, it'll prioritize the purge onto them, as well as my Winsheer if I want to interrupt them. A reincarnation macro. This pretty much just tracks it when your reincarnation's on cooldown if you've used it. It's just the show tooltip of it, and it'll give you a cooldown on your maelstrom itself. This one is also a very useful one, a very useful macro that I use. It pretty much replaces the need for you guys to shift click your weapon on your character itself in order to get into your artifact traits panel. Simply a click of the button, really simple. I'm going to be putting it in the description down below so you can see it there, and copy it and put it into here. So that's my macros for my Elemental Shaman. I hope this video was very useful for you guys. If you haven't already, click that subscribe button on YouTube. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, all my social medias. The links to those will be in the description down below. As well, if you want to catch my live streams on Twitch and YouTube, I do stream every day at a set schedule. The link to my Twitch channel will be in the description down below as well. I know, so many links. It's crazy. But thank you guys so much for the support that I've received thus far in the 2 months that I've been putting these videos out. I did not expect such a growth in such a short time, so I'm really thankful for you guys. I hope this video was helpful for you guys, and I will see you soon. Take care.